What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and today I wanted to talk about CNN and if they're actually biased in their reporting. I mean, I think pretty much that most rational people could at least give a positive probability to the thought that CNN could be biased. And anybody who really dives in deep, I think, really understands how biased it is. And I wanted to talk about that specifically in 5 different factors that go into it. So what I did is a detailed analysis on CNN's YouTube channel, and we looked at the top 6 candidates here to understand the total number of comments, the total number of views, how old this content is, the ratio of likes to dislike, which I think is super interesting because that almost tells an indication in the other direction of how much people don't like somebody. Because you could have a tremendous amount, you could have a 10-to-1 like to dislike ratio, but if you have something less than that, I think that is also very telling from the standpoint that maybe people don't really like you. So that's kind of interesting. And then the last thing is the sheer number of videos we're going to touch on to understand if CNN is biased. By the way, if this is your first time here, what's up? My name is Sam, and welcome. If you're returning, it's good to freaking see you. So, with that being said, let's get into the video. Why would we even be talking about CNN being biased? Well, the other day, CNN posted a poll. And in this poll, and I'll show you a picture of it in a second as soon as I'm done describing it, is the 6 candidates here. So it's got 3 across the top and 3 next to it right here. So this was retweeted by this guy here. This is it right here. Right? We've got Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Pete, whatever his name is, and this person here. And there's no Andrew Yang. But the interesting thing is that despite Yang polling at 3% in this poll, they decided to leave him out of this. So I looked up this poll. It's by University right there. I looked up the this poll or whatever just to confirm, and he's just missing. They just decided it was an intelligent idea to take him out of there, right? Bias, not bias, agenda, I don't know. And I'm not trying to put out some type of conspiracy theory. Like, let's jump into that for 1 second here. Conspiracy theory is not at all what I'm trying to do. When you take a look at the numbers, we're trying to be as objective as possible, and I'm just going to show you the numbers, and you can decide for yourself. But that doesn't also mean that everybody at CNN is bad or that everybody else has like a secret objective. It's human beings have biases, which is well documented in many research papers around psychology. So just one off the top of my head would be something like the status quo bias. And if you think about this, right? Think about driving into work every day. You probably take the same route into work almost every single day. If you have to go into a conference room, you probably sit in the same chair every time you go in there. When you go to put on your socks, you probably put on one sock first before the other ones. This can apply to everything. If there's a status quo, meaning if somebody's already doing something a certain way, they continue to do that way. If they think that way, they tend to continue thinking that way. There's interesting research around the opt-in and opt-out for 401k. That's where I originally saw data around the status quo bias, whereas if you have people not opt in to the 401k, so I mean they have to opt in to participate in the 401k, you get much lower participation rates. Whereas if it's automatic that somebody starts participating in their 401k, there's a much higher probability, meaning you have to opt out to get out of contributing to a 401k. And that's just one of many different psychological biases that human beings have, biases. There was another one here. This was actually right before the one that Yang tweeted out. But this one shows that I was showing right beforehand. So we've got this other from the, today's 9/1. So this is about a week ago or so when this polling data came in from Mammoth University poll. And we've got these candidates right here. But there was Yang, who was polling at at 3%. But I guess they just didn't have enough room on the page here because they wanted this guy to have his spot by himself. Even though Yang was polling at 3%, they didn't show him up there. And you're not showing the top 5, which I feel like would be a normal thing to do. Right? I don't know. These things, and there's many other that I'm sure that you can let me know down below in the comments, but these are just some of the things. Now, I wanted to touch quickly on CNN and what a huge opportunity this is for them on 2 fronts. 2 different areas where this is a huge opportunity. How do I know it's a big opportunity for them? Well, if we take each one of these candidates' names and we put CNN and then their name into Google Trends, and we look under the YouTube search volume. So let me just tell you what that means. If you search for CNN, Andrew Yang, and you pull it up in Google Trends and you look at the YouTube search volume, it tells you how much average search volume there is over a given time period for the term that you searched for. So we did this with these candidates. So CNN, Joe Biden, CNN, Kamala Harris, CNN, Bernie Sanders, CNN, Elizabeth Warren, blah, 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 right? And when you look at the data, it's ridiculous. So over the most recent 5 days, Andrew Yang, for this, right? This is searching for CNN. CNN, Andrew Yang. Like, I wonder what CNN has to say about Andrew Yang. And then they search for that on YouTube, right? It's like 2.5 to 1, meaning there's 2.5 more searches for Andrew Yang on average over the past 90 days versus for any one of these other candidates. First, a little side note here. Nobody's fucking looking for Joe Biden at all. I feel like his campaign is going to sputter out. When I look at this data and the analysis that I'm doing on these other videos, if you want to check that out, go check out the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Lots of good stuff coming this week. But nobody's fucking looking for Joe Biden at all, like whatsoever. He's got like virtually zero traffic, and that also could be the case because he just started his YouTube channel when he announced his candidacy. So clearly he hired somebody. Maybe it's not coming across as authentic, but that's not what we were going to talk about in this video. And when I come into the most recent 30 days here, it's just same exact thing. So we've got almost 2.6 or 2.7 times more popular Andrew Yang versus everybody else. At the 30-day view, Joe Biden has a more traffic in terms of search volume, and Elizabeth Warren does not have like any search volume. And we can see some of this thing when we look at the volume of creative on their YouTube channels. That's, again, a side note, but if you want to see a video on that, let me know down below in the comments. So what are the 2 areas where this is a huge opportunity for CNN? Well, first, I wrote these down. First of all, it's just a profit driver, right? You can capture more attention because people are looking for this. So put out that content because they're going to find it, right? They're looking for CNN, Andrew Yang. Like, CNN should put this content out there and cover Andrew Yang because people are looking for it on a ratio of more than 2 to 1. So if they're putting out content around Elizabeth Warren, they're going to get better SEO, right? Just by putting out content around Andrew Yang. Period, across the board, just simple data. That's all we're looking at. The next here is, and you can let me know your thoughts on this. This is obviously conjecture, but I feel as though this is a great opportunity for CNN to work towards building their reputation back up. I don't think with everything that's gone on with CNN over the last couple of years in terms of the president calling CNN out multiple times, it is clearly evident that, like, whether you agree with Trump or whether you don't agree with Trump or think he's an idiot or think he's the best person in the fucking world, whatever your opinion is, there's some validity to what he's saying about this because there's a clear bias. I mean, it's kind of interesting once you dive into the data. And why should we even care about CNN, right, when we have all these other players in the market? Well, one of the things is that the CNN YouTube channel has almost 7.5 million subscribers. So they have a voice. And when you look at the voice in terms of how much attention they have, over the past 30 days, they've had almost 133 million views. 133 million views. That's tremendous. That's a lot of views. Their channel, when you rank them, according to Social Blade, this is where I'm pulling the data from, if anybody wants to look. Social Blade has their ranking below 800 for subscribers, views, and that's on a global basis. So according to their view rank, they're 270th out of all YouTube channels. So they're very, very popular. In terms of the subscriber rank, they're 781st. So they've got a giant voice here that they can use to tell whatever story they want, clearly, as we are about to get into those 5 factors in just a second. The last thing that we're going to touch on before we get into those is that the volume of creative, and I'm calling it creative for a reason, because I don't think that using the word reporting, I don't know, is a accurate representation of what they're putting out. So I think creative is a much better word to describe what is going on. Anyways, they have nearly 150,000 videos they've produced. 150,000. To be exact, it's 145,965 videos, with obviously many published per day. So that's absolutely tremendous. And the fifth and final point that we're going to talk about really puts this into perspective, that they have 150,000 videos, and then we're going to take a look at the total number of videos per candidate, and this puts it really into perspective without giving it away. Okay, so now what I did here for this analysis was I took all 6 of these candidates, I went on to YouTube, and I went onto CNN's page. And then you can search their channel for keywords. So that's what I did. I took CNN, their YouTube page, and I searched for Pete, the mayor dude. And I took the top 5 videos. And then we looked at the total number of comments, the total number of views, the views on average per video, and how old the content is, and the ratio of likes to dislikes. And we did that for every single one of these candidates. Yes, it took several hours, so if you want to support the channel, press that thumbs up button or share this video with somebody. This took me several hours to put together to look at each one of these. Remember, I'm looking at like 5 videos for every single candidate. I've got 6 candidates here, and then I have to pull all this data, put it into a spreadsheet, do the analysis, and then make it actually slightly sound interesting, because showing this data, nobody else is talking about this. Nobody else is talking about. The media, Fox, CNN, MSNBC is way the fuck over here, but reality is way over here. So we're going to start with the total number of comments across the videos in question here. And Andrew Yang ranks number 3 in terms of these 6 candidates. So we've got Pete, Andrew, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren. Out of all 6 of these candidates, right, who, according to CNN, they're all polling higher than him, right? That's what their reporting creative says. And yet, when you look at YouTube, he actually has the 3rd most number of comments. That's kind of interesting, right? That's kind of interesting. So he has the highest average number of comments coming from his videos. So next, let's jump over to the total number of views on average, right? So out of all the videos that we looked at, remember we got 5 videos, and then we looked at the total number of comments, the total views on average per video, how old is the content, then the likes and dislikes ratio. So when we look at the average number of views per video, he's number 2. So he's number 2 on this scale. And it's also a little bit skewed because number 1 is Kamala Harris. By the way, number 1 and 2 is Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders for the total number of comments on average. And for the views, and you can do any of this yourself. Just go to CNN's YouTube page, put in each one of these candidates. You can pull up the videos. You can click on them. You can see exactly what I'm seeing. So he's number 2 when it comes to views. So that's tremendous. There's a big opportunity there. That's not in any of the data, right? Because you would think, right, when we look back over here, we've got Bernie Sanders, according to this poll here, Bernie Sanders, Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Biden, Harris, Booker, and this person right here. This was as of then. So we come out down here to the one that's a little bit more recent for August 21st through the 26th. And we have these characters, right? Biden, Warren, Bernie, Kamala, Pete, and this guy. And he's not even on there. But when we take a look at the views, people are fucking interested. So the average for views on his is 314,000. It's over 314,000 for his videos on average, which is kind of interesting. Joe Biden comes up in the tail of that, which we kind of saw already based on the search volume. He just has 183,000, so about 125,000 less than what Andrew's getting. What's right below him is Bernie. He has more than Bernie Sanders, more than Pete, more than Elizabeth Warren. Now, when we come over to this, so this is kind of interesting. So what I did is every single one of these videos that I pull up the videos I go to their CNN YouTube channel, I search for Bernie Sanders. Then I look at those top 5 videos that come up. I don't go past that or anything like that. I just look at the top 5 videos and I just gather the data from those because those are probably the most popular or most relevant ones. That's why they're coming up on that channel. And I only took videos where these characters' names were in the title of the video. So for that way they would come up on that list. So Bernie Sanders took those top 5 videos, and then I clicked on each one of those videos to see when it was published. And then I took today's date minus that date to understand how many days it's been on the market, essentially. It's a real estate term. And what we have in terms of, now this is kind of interesting, right? So who has the lowest amount of days on market? What does that mean, right? If somebody has the low days on market, what does that mean? That means that there's more content coming out more quickly around this candidate. Because if they're coming out with content perpetually, right, about this candidate, then those are the videos I'm going to see. Means the average days on market is going to be compressed. So when we look at this, Bernie Sanders has the least amount of days on market, meaning he's getting talked about the most. On his here, he's got 4 videos just in the month of August. I'm looking through this quickly, and only 2 other people have videos in August, Bernie Sanders, and on August 10th, there was one for Andrew Yang. Everybody else doesn't have anything produced in the month of August that comes up in the top for the search results on that YouTube channel. In terms of who has the least amount of coverage, this is actually Kamala Harris. So hers is 112 days. So that was the last time that they had the most relevant video out there. So this is when you do the search on their channel. It's not, I didn't look at all of the videos. So maybe there was a video that was more recent that was published, but is not as popular. Because when you search on the channel, out of 150,000 videos, if there's more of them that come up, it's going to pull the top ones to that front page. So that's what's happened here. And there was nothing relevant in the top for Kamala Harris, and her videos on average have a 112 days. So Joe Biden's was 26 days on average. Kamala Harris's was 112. Andrew Yang was 99 days. So everybody else but Kamala and Andrew Yang have less than 60 days on average since the last video on average. So I know I'm saying average a lot, but I just took the average total amount of days that their videos have been on there on the market. And it's pretty telling to show that all these other, like, if you think about Bernie Sanders, he's had every 26 days. So you could have 4 videos produced in the amount of time before another Kamala Harris video were to come out, if you're using this to predict the future, which is pretty crazy because there's twice as much volume coming out, right? Or Andrew Yang, there's almost 4 times as many. You could put out 4 videos on Joe Biden before you get to one of Andrew Yang, right? His is 26 days versus Andrew Yang's is 99 days. So that was kind of telling that he's had the oldest amount of content on there. Now, these last two, and I saved these because I think these are the most telling about the behavior